So in today's video, we're going to continue off from the last video and we're going to actually sell our shorts. So if you want to see how to do it, just keep watching. If you're new to my channel, my name is Leslie. My channel is all about crafting on a budget. I do mostly sublimation videos, but I also do Cricut and sewing videos. So if any of those things interest you, please consider subscribing, joining my YouTube family. And let's just jump into this video. So for this project, you're gonna need some 100% polyester fabric. I got this one from Hobby Lobby a while ago. I don't actually know what kind it is. I think it's double brush poly. It's really thick. I really like this fabric, but I got it from Hobby Lobby and I believe it was like $8 a yard when I got it. The pattern calls for inch elastic, but I only have 3/4. So that's what I'm gonna use because I don't want to buy elastic. This is Dritz. You can find this at Walmart. And then you need your pattern. When you printed it out, remember that you should have 2 of each. You're also gonna need a lint roller, heat tape, your heat press, a sewing machine or serger, or both, and a rotary cutter or fabric scissors. I prefer a rotary cutter because it gives you more control. And then clips. I prefer clips. I really like clips for sewing, but if you prefer pins, you can use pins as well. Okay, so what I'm gonna start off by doing is getting my fabric. You really shouldn't need too much fabric. I honestly think well, it depends what size you're gonna make, right? So I'm making a 5. It will only take like half a yard or less. We wanna make sure that when we are doing this, we are paying attention to which way our stretch is. So for me, my major stretch is this way. So when I place my pattern on here, I'm gonna make sure that my pattern goes with the waist this way because that's where the stretch is going to be. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure we're on the right side of the fabric and we're going to lint roll. Just like we would lint roll any other sublimation project, we're gonna lint roll. And if you're new to sublimation, the reason why we do this is because lint turns blue when you sub and you don't want that to show up on your project. So you just want to lint roll really well. So now we're gonna take our paper and we're gonna flip it over. You can trim down your paper a little bit if you would like. I'm gonna flip it over. Again, make sure your stretch is going this way. And you want your waistband to be going the way of your stretch. So that's what's gonna stretch over the hips and all that. So I'm gonna pin it down. And I'm gonna take my heat tape and I'm just gonna tape down that paper to my fabric. I'm gonna take another one and I'm gonna trim it down. And we're gonna tape that down as well. And I'm pretty sure I'll only be able to do 2 at a time in my heat press. And so just make sure that you tape it down really well. And I'm just use my rotary cutter, cut that out because I know I'm only gonna be able to do 2 at a time. You wanna tape it down enough where it's not going to shift on the way to the heat press, but not too much where you're gonna have trouble. So I'm gonna put this to the side and I'm gonna do the same thing for the remaining 2. Now we're gonna go to our heat press to press it down to sub it on. I have my heat press set to 385 degrees. You can do 400, but I know my heat press and my heat press runs hotter. So I always use 385 degrees and that's what works best for me. But if your heat press doesn't run hot like mine, you can do 400 degrees. So I'm gonna put some butcher paper down. Then I'm going to put down my fabric with my design. And then I'm going to put down another sheet of butcher paper. We put down this sheet to protect our silicone mat so the sublimation ink does not go through. And then we put one on top to protect the top of our heat press from sublimation ink going on that. So now we're just gonna press for 60 seconds. Okay, so So now we take our butcher paper from on top off and we throw this away. We can't use it again. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but you can see the sublimation ink on it. So you don't want to use this again, because when you use it again, it's going to go on, it's going to be reactivated and go onto whatever you're working on. So now we're just going to carefully lift up our paper. This is how much ink was released, so a good amount. And this is how it looks once it was pressed. So look at those colors, beautiful. I'm putting that to the side. Put my fabric on top. And then I'm gonna put another piece of butcher paper on top again. And we're gonna press again for 60 seconds. Again, throwing away our butcher paper. Taking off our sublimation paper. And the other one looks like that. Hot. So now that we have subbed our fabric, we're gonna cut it out. So that's where this outline really comes in handy. You don't have to use it, but if you have a design that kind of has white in the background, that would really come in handy, or like a light color, so that you can distinguish where to cut it. So I'm just gonna use my rotary cutter and I'm gonna cut that out. And it's okay if you still have a little bit of the outline there, because that's gonna get sewn up. You're not gonna be able to see it. So it really doesn't matter all too much if you get a little bit still on there. I'm just following the outline. This is why a rotary cutter is so much easier, because you have more control and you get nice cuts without having like jagged ends, you know? So just like that, now we're gonna do that to all the rest of our 3 pieces. Now you should have 2 back pieces, and you should know they're your back pieces because they're much longer in the back. The shorter, the front pieces are not gonna be as long. Okay, so make sure that you have 2 of each one, but that you have mirrored. So you want one to go this way and one to go the opposite way. And the reason for that is that when you sew it up, you want to have 2 of the same way. If you don't mirror it, what's gonna happen is that you would then sew it up like this, and then you would have one white and one, you know, with the color. So make sure that you have them mirrored.